That's that one.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's good to see you, and thank you for tuning in. And today we are going to talk about why do some motorcycle accident cases take a long time to resolve. Welcome to Mototalks with Mitch and Mel, brought to you by Proner & Proner, a law firm with a global presence and expertise that feels local and personal. I'm your host and fellow writer, Mel Maguia. We'll be sitting down with a personal injury expert and writer, Mitch Proner, a lawyer with over 30 years of experience and a writer for over 40 years, to answer your questions and share insights you'll find useful in the personal injury world. Now, before we get started, remember, all consultations are free and confidential. Reach us at any time at 1-800-321-1234. How you doing, Mitch? Welcome back.
Hey, Mel, how are you?
I'm good. It's not much riding nowadays.
Yeah, there's some out there, but you're right, not too many out in the snow.
Yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, even just to walk. So I know there's some hardcore riders out there, but more power to them. Let's just hope they're safe. So yeah, Mitch, why do, and this is, I guess, a perfect topic with weather conditions right now. But why do some motorcycle accident cases take a long time to resolve? If you could expand, please.
Well, in order to answer the question, it helps to understand how a motorcycle accident claim is presented and resolved. So first of all, an attorney has to determine who's going to be not just responsible, but available to pay for the damages. So typically, in a collision involving another vehicle, or it could be a roadway defect, you need to find out who's going to be responsible for the damages and who their insurance carrier is. Because the driver of a car, typically they can't just say, okay, here's a check for $350,000. Most people don't have that kind of money liquid, but insurance carriers are required to keep adequate reserves to settle their claims in order to write policies. That's a requirement by law. So the insurance carriers do have the money to back up their settlements. Now, you have to find the applicable insurance. The insurance carrier, before they want to pay a dime, they don't want to take an attorney's word. They want to see medical records, and they want to get authorizations, and they want to make sure you're not going to come back later and claim more damages. So they want to see what's going on with the treatment. If you just broke your bone, like let's say it's a broken leg, well, if it's a minimum policy, which in New York State is $25,000, they might say, hey, all we have is a minimum $25,000. Here it is. But if it's a larger policy, they're going to want to see some sort of treatment. They're going to want to see what the bills are, and they want to see how the healing process goes before they make an offer that they hope could settle the claim, or at least to begin the negotiations. So you need to get the medical records from the doctors, and that might take some time. You also need to get the bills, because if there is state involvement in the payment of the bills, for example, let's suppose you go into the hospital, they say, do you have health insurance? No, I don't have health insurance, and they put it on emergency Medicaid.
Okay.
Well, if the insurance carrier pays to settle the claim, and there's a Medicaid lien that even shows up a year later, they could go against the insurance carrier, even though the insurance carrier settled it.
Oh, wow.
They could go against the lawyers, and they could go against the rider. So they want to know what the Medicaid lien is. And that Medicaid lien, it's my cell phone.
No, great ring.
Anyway, that Medicaid lien might not be resolved immediately. It might take a while to get the government records to show what the Medicaid lien is. And then the Medicaid lien might be more than the applicable coverage. So let's suppose the Medicaid lien is for $45,000 and there's only $25,000 in coverage. Well, now the attorney has to encourage the Medicaid lien holder to take less so that the rider can get paid. Otherwise, he's not going to sign a release, and they're not going to get any of their money back. And that could be a lengthy process. So even if you have private health insurance, they might want to see that there's no Medicaid, and that can slow a claim. So you got to get the medical records. They might want to do their own, the insurance carrier might want to do their own analysis of who's at fault.
Mhm.
And they could speak to their insured driver, and the driver could say, the police report's wrong. That's not how it happened. This is how it happened. Now, they might want to defend the claim based on their driver's statements.
Right.
And we might have to file suit and have depositions and get experts, and the case could take a while. The other thing that might slow down a claim is you might not be represented by us. You might be represented by another firm, and they might not be moving their claims. So it could be you're with the firm that bills itself as the largest firm on the planet or whatever, and maybe your case seems small compared to other cases they have, and their attorney is overworked. Or for whatever reason, they put your case on a back burner. Or maybe they have high turnover in who their associates are. And you constantly get shuffled and you don't even know who's taking care of you. In my office, my clients, most of them have my own cell phone number. And they can call me up, and they do call me up oftentimes on weekends and at night saying what's going on in my case. And I'm not encouraging people to call me up at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday case, but people have my cell phone number. I'm doing this for 35 years, and it's my office, and I'm the lawyer they hire. Even though I have a team of associate attorneys and paralegals and secretaries and investigators and experts that I've worked with for years, it's my name on the door, and my clients know how to get in touch with me. But not every firm is run like that, and not every firm moves their cases as effectively as we do. We try to take every case and move it as quickly as possible for as much money as possible. But motorcycle accident cases often have unique challenges. For example, in New York, motorcycle accidents are not covered under no fault. So with a motor vehicle accident, non-motorcycle accident, the bills are paid by the same automobile carriers involved in the claim. So it's easy for them to know who's paying the bills. With motorcycle accidents, it's not as easy for them to know. And sometimes they want verification that there's no Medicaid or Medicare involved. And that can slow down a claim because you got to get records and documentation from the government. There are other issues involved in motorcycle accident cases. For example, the insurance carriers typically want to blame the rider. Oh, he was going too fast. He was riding out of control. And that could present challenges. I have tried more motorcycle accident cases perhaps than any other attorney on the planet. I've tried motorcycle versus car, motorcycle versus bus, motorcycle versus truck, motorcycle versus roadway defect, signage cases, all successfully. I believe I have a reputation for winning these cases, and I've lectured around the country on how to handle these cases. Even in Canada, I've lectured on how to handle these cases. So I do have and that's to attorney groups, to bar association, as well as rider clubs and organizations. So I'm doing this for a long time. I've been riding over 30 years and trying these cases for over 30 years. They have unique challenges, but we do our best to move them as quickly as possible and get the riders as much money as possible. And fair compensation is always our ultimate goal.
Definitely. And if you don't mind, Mitch, for new viewers or new listeners, can you give an example of how your expertise, knowledge, and experience with motorcycles help you win a case, if you don't mind?
Yeah. I've had cases where the other side has hired accident reconstructionists to prove that my motorcyclist was at fault. And I've cross-examined the engineers hired by the other side. And it turned out they didn't know as much about motorcycles as they thought they did. And my riding experience and experience in cross-examining engineers and working with my own engineers has proved effective. For example, one time we had a truck versus motorcycle accident case, And their accident reconstruction said that it couldn't happen the way our client, the rider, said it did. And I asked them if they did vehicle matchups where they saw where the motorcycle matched up against the truck, and they said they did. And I said, well, how high were the handlebars on the motorcycle? They didn't know. And I said, if you don't know, do you know if the handlebars were the most protruding aspect? They believed it. So I said, if you don't know the height off the ground of the handlebars, how do they know where the contact would be? And they said, well, there's standard heights. And I said, standard heights?
No.
You can have straight handlebars or drag handlebars. You could have Elkhorn handlebars. You could have ape hangers. I said, so how do they know what a standard height is? Do they know if the motorcycle was modified? No, they had the model, but they didn't see. Anyway, I was successful in that case. I was tried in Brooklyn. Defendants were Comcast, and they brought in experts from around the country, and it was a 1.5-month trial, and ended up getting the rider fair compensation, and was successful. And it was uniquely challenging because my rider had a lengthy criminal background, which under New York law was admissible to the jury. So they went into my client's lengthy history, but we were still successful and won the claim. And my riding and experience helped to win the case.
Amazing.
Mel, I think you muted yourself. I think you're still muted, Mel.
Sorry about that.
Now
I had a
now you're
little.
back.
I apologize about that. No, that I was saying that's amazing information, and thank you for that's a great story. Actually, I wish I could have seen that. Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the expert himself, Mitch Proner. If you need our help, call us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234. All consultations are free and confidential. Well, that wraps it up for now. Thank you for tuning in. Whether it's on our podcast or video broadcast, we really do appreciate it. And if you haven't done it already, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Like, share, and please subscribe to get the latest updates. Now, before we go, Mitch, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just I used to ride year round, and now in the wintertime, I keep my bikes on a trickle charger.
Yeah.
But if you're out there riding, be careful, because especially in winter weather, people aren't looking for bikes, and they might not see it. So be careful. Ride safe.
Definitely. Thank you, Mitch. Yes, thank you again for another informative session, and thank you all for checking us out. Remember, we ride just like you and are here to help when you need us. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much again, Mitch. Good to have you back.
Thanks, Mel. Be well. Bye-bye.
You too.